If you want your cards to be doing this instead of this, but all of this has you confused, do not fear, for I am here and I will be explaining all of Twisted Wonderland's leveling methods so that you can buff your boys quickly and efficiently. Because whether or not you're just starting out or have been playing for a while, card leveling can be confusing. There are items and lessons and items for lessons and friendships and books and all of this information. Oh, my lord, where does one begin? It's a very good question to ask, and depending on how long you've been playing, the answer will be a bit different. However, regardless of where you're starting from, there are a few things you'll need to know before you upgrade anything. Namely, what exactly can you upgrade in the first place? Every card comes with various permanent attributes, like their type, as well as 7 upgradable aspects, which are card level, uncap level, vignette level, groovy status, spell level, buddy level, and friendship level. Even though we can directly influence these 7, some of a card's permanent attributes will affect these upgradable ones. So let's go over the permanent ones first. Obviously, you can't change the character that's featured on the card. That would be silly nonsense. But each card does come with 2 different artworks, so you will eventually be able to change how it looks. The character and their outfit will dictate what your vignette upgrading will do as well. Certain types of card outfits, like the dorm uniform series, have unlockable vignette stories, while some others, like the clubwear series, have unlockable guest room furniture recipes. A card can only have one or the other, and this is predetermined. So, if this is important to you, make sure to refer to a card's showcase notice for this information before summoning. Every card also comes in one of 3 types: attack, defense, or balanced. This will determine a few different things like stat priorities and spell abilities. This type cannot be changed, so what you see is what you get. Each card also comes with 2 predetermined spells set with specific elemental affinities. However, SSR cards have a special unlockable 3rd spell that is also predetermined in this way. Spells also come with various predetermined abilities. However, these abilities are upgradable at certain spell level milestones. SSR cards also have an ability called Duo Magic that they can use if they fight alongside a predetermined buddy character once that duo ability has been unlocked. All cards have at least 1 buddy, with each rank increase granting 1 additional buddy. However, all of the buddy characters, including the duo buddy, are predetermined and cannot be changed. That covers just about everything that can't be changed, so let's see what we can change, starting with card level. This upgrades the power and HP stats of a card, with certain stats gaining priority based on the card's type. Attack type cards focus on attacking, so their upgrades prioritize the power stat and have harder hitting spells in general. Defense type cards, on the other hand, focus on defense, so their upgrades instead prioritize HP, while their spells usually are utility focused. Balanced cards don't prioritize anything in particular, so they often end up doing a bit of both in both regards. Upgrading your card level to certain milestones is also a prerequisite for Groovification, but it's not the only one. Vignette level is another Groovy requirement, and while it doesn't directly upgrade your card per se, it does unlock those aforementioned vignette stories or furniture recipes. In the case of stories, all parts must be read before your card can be groovified. So you'll need to max out your vignette level in addition to meeting the card level requirement to undergo the groovification process. This is the process of upgrading your card from not groovy to groovy, which unlocks a card's special artwork and comes with a permanent boost to the power and HP stats of a card. This can be especially helpful in battle, particularly for new players, and discovering the new artwork is also pretty fun. A special voice line will play during this process, so make sure your volume is on or your headphones are in if you want to listen. If for some reason you can't listen to it and you want to, you can always replay any Groovy animation that you have already unlocked by going to the game settings, to the album, selecting the character that you wish to view, going to their voices and animations tab, switching to the card that you want to view the Groovy animation of, and then tabbing over to card specific, where you'll be able to see the Groovification animation, as well as replay any of their other voice lines that you have unlocked. You can also replay their summon animation along with the summoning voice lines. Not super specifically relevant to card leveling, but it is neat. Now, Groovy can only happen once and does require a special item in addition to the other requirements, but once it's been achieved, you can swap between card artworks, your card will have a permanent stat boost, and your card will have a special pink banner on the card icon and status screen to denote this change. Now, there is also Uncap level, which is shown through Uncap status on the status screen. This is Twisted Wonderland's solution to gacha duplicates. Every time you summon or otherwise receive a duplicate card, you will instead receive an Uncap level on your original card. This can be done a total of 4 times before the duplicates are instead converted into a perfume item that will match the card's rank. Perfume can be used to uncap any card of the same rank, so it's very good to collect these when you can. Perfumes can also be bought from Sam in his shop, and our perfume specifically can be exchanged for special home screen backgrounds, so you'll definitely find uses for these. Sam is also the easiest way to uncap your SSRs, as SSR perfumes are usually on sale during limited time events. Uncapping, whether through summoning or perfume, is important, as each time a card is uncapped, its maximum card level is increased by 5, so you can get a total of 20 extra levels this way. And, by extension, 20 extra power and HP upgrades. At the max of 4, this will also give your card another permanent boost to their power and HP stats. SSR cards also receive additional benefits with each upgrade, including that extra spell at Uncap level 3, and a fancy banner color at Uncap level 4. Spell levels are what they sound like, the level of your spells. As you upgrade these, your spells will not only become more powerful, but their effects will change. All card spell abilities change once at level 5, however, SSR cards' abilities will change once again at level 10. SSRs receive their duo ability at level 5 on their second spell, so reaching this milestone for those cards is quite important. But to use that duo ability, you're going to need a buddy, and you can make this buddy more useful by upgrading buddy level. While this cannot be directly upgraded in the card upgrading screen, it is linked to spell level, so these two aspects work very well together. Each card has a certain number of buddies, with each of those buddies being predetermined like we talked about before. In battle, if any card of the buddy character, say Vil, is on the same team as the character that has them as a buddy, like Dorm Uniform Leona, Leona will get a special boost. These can affect HP or power in minor or modest amounts, and the higher the buddy level is, the better this boost becomes. There is also a super secret level that can't be directly accessed in the card upgrading screen, but it can be seen in the status screen, and that's friendship level. This is tied exclusively to the guest room and all of its fancy mechanics, which warrants its own dedicated video. But for our purposes here, just know that you can upgrade friendship using the invite feature. You can also upgrade this with stickers or character-specific items, and these can be obtained from cleaning or in the shop, but until you get a significant stock, you'll mainly be using invites. When your friendship level hits certain milestones, you'll receive a special uncap in addition to the other rewards, which will raise the target card's max level by a total of 1. You can do this 10 times throughout the friendship process for a total of 10 extra card levels regardless of card rank, and you can see how many you've gotten so far by checking for this pink number in the status screen. Friendship is arguably the least important of the 7 aspects and is also, in my opinion, the most tedious to fully upgrade. So, this is as deep as we're gonna get into it in this video. Think of it like the cherry on top of a sundae, where the sundae itself is made from these 6 other aspects. And now that we know what those 6 are, let's see how we can upgrade them. Each of these can be upgraded either from lessons or from items, or sometimes both, although uncapping is special in that it can also be upgraded through summons. Lessons and items are the heavy lifters of card leveling, and as such, they need their own dedicated sections. Lessons are what get us items, and are the most accessible system for leveling, so let's start there. Lessons are a gameplay system that upgrades card level, vignette level, and buddy level through RNG in exchange for your time. These cost lesson points, or LP, to take, and give out rewards once completed. Each lesson session costs 1 LP to take, and each session lasts a certain number of rounds. You can tap through these sessions manually, select auto to have the game tap for you, or loop them to repeat that type of lesson until you run out of LP. Your LP refreshes over time, but you can also use star shards or gems to speed this up if you need. On the lessons page, you'll see 3 different tabs which contain 3 different types of lessons that you can use to upgrade specific aspects. The normal tab technically contains 2 types of lessons: history, which upgrades card level, and flight, which upgrades vignette level. These are considered basic lessons when referenced in missions, and for your participation, you will be rewarded with thaw marks and level up items that correspond to the lesson type you took. There are also character-specific missions, which will get you additional rewards like gems and lesson enhancement items, which we'll get into in a bit. Normal lessons can also be taken with any character at any time, provided you have at least one of their cards. And you can upgrade multiple cards at once, so you can save a bit of time this way. The Daily tab contains 1 type of lesson, Alchemy, which upgrades buddy level. You'll receive thaw marks, alchemy tokens, character candies for Groovification, and elemental spellbook items as rewards for participation. Spell levels can only be upgraded with their corresponding elemental spellbooks, so these lessons are very important if you're looking to unlock that duo ability. Unlike normal lessons, not all the characters are available for alchemy every day. Instead, each day, there are different characters to choose from, with the roster rotating through not only characters, but the available element rewards as well. So you may need to plan a little in advance for these, particularly if you do not yet have at least 1 card of every character. The last tab also contains 1 type of lesson, the Special Elective lesson. This will upgrade your card level substantially, but because it does so, they are limited to 10 a day. And despite being linked to only card level, these lessons will reward you with all of the items from both alchemy and normal lessons, in addition to thaw marks. History, flight, and special lessons go for 7 rounds a session, while alchemy lessons only go for 5. All types share the same basic mechanics for gaining experience though, so let's start with normal lessons to see how that works. To take a normal lesson, you'll have to pick the dorm of the character you want to upgrade, the character themselves, and which type of lesson you want to take. Once selected, you'll set up a class of 5 characters using the cards in your collection. The first participant must be the featured character, while the other 4 can be any other character. You cannot go to class with duplicates of the same character though, as this would break the immersion, so keep that in mind. You can, however, use each card's special outfit instead of the default one for a more colorful class that totally does not break immersion. When you're ready to start, your classmates will appear in the classroom that matches the lesson type you chose. As the class progresses, there is a random chance each round that a specific character will be called on, and if they are, their card will receive experience based on the quality of their response. There are 1-star or good, 2-star or great, and 3-star or perfect responses, each gaining more experience than the last, with which one you get being determined, of course, by RNG. Each response type also increases this meter at the top by a certain amount. Once it's filled, the head mage will swoop in for a special lesson period, lasting 5 rounds. Each answer during this period is guaranteed to be perfect, so you'll be gaining a decent amount of experience. If you trigger this with less than 5 rounds left in your lesson session, the remaining rounds will carry over to the next class, so you're not going to lose any of this boost. This meter is shared though between history, flight, and alchemy, so make sure to double check your progress when swapping between lesson types by referencing the gauge in the character selection screen. This screen also shows various items that can skew RNG in your favor. Each item lasts for 5 lessons and cannot be turned off once used, so be aware of that when deciding to use these. You can set your loops to automatically use them if you want to, but I recommend that new players don't do this until you get a significant stock, because each player rank increase automatically gives you a 10 LP refresh if you're below 10 when you hit it, which you most likely will be if you're looping lessons, so you might be running through more than the 10 lessons you planned for if you're not paying attention, and therefore more than the 2 items you were expecting to use. This happened to me multiple times, and my precious few macarons disappeared very quickly. So if you would like to use your items a bit more intentionally, I would recommend not toggling this on. It is off by default, so you're not going to accidentally trigger it, and any items that are already in use will still get used up as the loop goes on. The game just doesn't automatically consume another one if you keep the setting off. But in any case, these lesson enhancement items for History class are Lipe Macarons, which increase the amount of card level experience gained, Limelight Waffles, which increase the chance of a featured character being called on, and Lucky Cupcakes, which increase the chances of getting greats and perfect responses. In flight lessons, you can use Limelight Waffles and Lucky Cupcakes, but not Lipe Macaroons. Instead, because these lessons focus on Vignette level, Sympathetic Sugar Cubes can be used to increase the amount of Vignette level experience gained. Alchemy lessons only share the cupcakes, with Friendship Popcorn increasing the experience, and Card Cookies increasing the amount of thaw marks gained per session. Waffles are gone because Alchemy lessons are set up a bit differently. However, before we jump over there, we should talk about special lessons first. Elective special lessons are history lessons taught by the head mage after hours, like cram classes, so they're on steroids. While characters are still picked on randomly by RNG, their responses are guaranteed to be perfect, just like in the normal lesson special sessions. You can gain a considerable amount of experience in these lessons, and they offer all of the card enhancement materials as rewards. Spellbooks, snacks, honeys, and pretty much everything except candies. Of course, which of these you get is decided by RNG, but you can get a few high-tier spellbooks each day from these lessons. Now, with all great power comes great limitation, so you can only take 10 of these a day. Still, they're a great boost, so make sure that you're doing them. And you can also use your macarons, Limelight Waffles, and Thalmark cards here to give you more of a boost too. I personally recommend using your items in these lessons first before normal lessons, since the boost you get here is much better, considering you're guaranteed all perfect all of the time. It's also worth noting that elective special lessons are the only lesson type that you cannot skip. Skipping is a process of skipping a lesson. So instead of going through all of the animations, the lesson will just end automatically, all of the numbers will be calculated for you, and you'll receive whatever rewards you would have gotten. You can do this 10 times per day unless you have a skip ticket, in which case you can do it more than 10 times per day. These are usually given out as compensation for updates that take too long or for some other funky things that can happen in the game. However, during limited time events like the 2.5-year anniversary, these were also available as mission rewards and were available in gem shop bundles, so you will be able to pick these up at some point, they're just not normally accessible. Since special lessons are the only type that can't be skipped, you're going to have to allot some time to get them looped through. But now that we've taken our little skipping tangent, it's time to talk about Alchemy. Now, Alchemy can be considered special in its own right, since these lessons raise buddy level, which represents the relationship a character has with another character, hence the friendship popcorn. As discussed previously, each card rarity comes with a certain amount of built-in buddies, who typically play some sort of role in the vignette story if there is one. When you take a lesson, you pick a character from the available pool, and then the card you want to level, at which point you can choose one of that card's buddy characters regardless of whether or not you have a card of that character. Then the lesson will go forward with the same mechanics and RNG as the normal ones. However, all of the experience you gain will go towards this buddy relationship, as the only character that can be called on during the class period is the featured character. These lessons offer spellbooks as rewards for participation, which, again, are the only way to upgrade your spell levels. As mentioned before as well, the element and characters available change daily, so look at the calendar to plan accordingly for what you need. For new players, if you don't yet have a card of a particular character, you won't be able to take any lessons with them, including Alchemy, so there might be days where no one is available for you to take Alchemy with. If this happens on a day where you need that day's elemental books, you can always pick up any card school uniform or card from Sam's card shop, which will then unlock that character for both normal and Alchemy lessons. You'll likely be more interested in the candy rewards than the spellbooks early on, so I recommend making sure you pick up a couple candies when your target characters are up for alchemy lessons before you're ready to groovy, so that you have them once you are ready. Worry about the spellbooks later, as duo magic only really becomes important around book 3-ish. You can squeak by on book 3 as well without duo, but it's harder. However, you can absolutely beat book 1 and book 2 without having to use duo magic. Just a little bit easier if you do. So the candies should be probably your priority up front. And you don't want to end up like me, who had to wait 4 days to groovify 2 of their cards because they did not do this in advance. But with all of this talk about books and candies and all of these reward items, we should probably talk about how we actually get them, no? You may notice that when a character is called on, this icon might pop up with their response. This will become an item at the end of the lesson with its quality determined, as far as I can tell, by our good old friend RNG. It's possible that the type of item is correlated with the response in some way, since each iteration of card enhancement material offers the same or similar experience to each iteration of answer, but they don't always correlate when the item is actually gained. The items themselves are also dished out by RNG, so in the case of an alchemy lesson, you might be getting a spellbook, but you also might be getting a candy or token. In history lessons, the items obtained are honeys, which can be used with thaw marks in the card upgrading screen to instantly raise a card's level by a certain amount. When upgrading using honeys, there is a chance that you'll get bonus experience on top of the guaranteed amounts. There are 3 ranks you can get. Good being the standard amount with no bonus, great giving you a bit of a bonus, and excellent giving you a decent bonus. Starting to see a pattern here. During certain events like character birthdays, certain cards will have boosted rates for these ranks. So I recommend that if you can wait to upgrade certain cards with your items, to do so during these events. Regardless of when you actually do decide to use your honey though, you're going to want to upgrade in incremental stages, mixing and matching the different tiers of honey to reach your desired card level with the least amount of thaw marks possible. This stepping process will give you more chances to receive a bonus and therefore save your precious honey items and thaw marks. I like to do this in increments of 10 or 20 depending on where the card is at, but test and see what works for you. Now in flight lessons you receive snacks, which do the same thing but for vignettes. However, when raising your vignette level, there is no RNG bonus, so feel free to just straight up max your card with these items if you want to. I will caution you though that when you do this for your SSR cards, make sure that you're either using all low or all high tier snacks to get that final max level. If you use only the middle item, you're actually going to use more thaw marks than the other 2. I'm not entirely sure why this is the case, and I would assume it's because the mid-tier items overshoot the actual amount of experience that's needed. But regardless, if you're not going to mix and match, just go high or low. For R and SR cards, this isn't a problem. All of the different tiers will still equal 12,000 thaw marks, so you can just use whatever the heck you have if you just want to use all of one type of thing. And in alchemy lessons, you'll receive spellbooks, which function similar to these snacks but are used for spell leveling. There's no bonus here to be gained, however, you will eventually need all 3 tiers of books each time you level in varying quantities if you're going to try to get to max rank. Alchemy lessons will also give out the candies that you need for Groovification, but the candies do not have any tiers, so they are much easier to accumulate. I have pretty big stockpiles of candies, but I cannot say the same for books. So if you're looking to groovy or you're a new player, this is the route for you. If you're looking to upgrade your spell levels, you're just going to have to grind it out a bit, which unfortunately you're probably going to have to do. If you don't have honey or snacks, you can simply take lessons. And if you don't have gems or aren't interested in summoning, there are always perfumes available in the shop. But if you're out of books, you're out of luck. Unless you have a lot of alchemy tokens saved up, which you won't have if you're not taking alchemy lessons, you won't be able to easily buy books or candies from the shop. And even if you do have these tokens, the higher tier books can cost a fortune, especially for that last spell level of an SSR card. Speaking of the shop, though, it's worth noting that Sam has a plethora of lesson enhancement and character upgrading items for sale as well. Some items, like perfumes and star shards, are limited to a certain number per month, so creating a stockpile exclusively from the shop will take a while. However, some others, like spellbooks, candies, and lesson enhancement items, are unlimited, so you can get as many as your coin purse will let you. It's also worth checking in with Sam to see what's in stock, especially during limited time events. There are sometimes special bundles for sale in the gem shop that might interest you, and during some events, SSR perfumes will be available for purchase among the other rewards. I recommend, as an almost free-to-play player, ignoring most of the gem bundles outside of these two. These will give you keys and keyrings at a discount while also giving you star shards, so they're worth it in the end. These are refreshed monthly, and you can use your free gems to purchase them, so I recommend picking them up if you can or are interested. The free gem bundles that are usually offered during limited time events are not great, in my opinion, so I'd rather you spend your gems here than there. However, they're your gems, so use them how you wish. I'd also recommend picking up anything in the standard shops that is in limited quantity so you can build up stocks of those items over time. The only leveling item that is not for sale normally are snacks for vignette leveling, but trust me, this is not an issue. It may be when you're just starting out, but you will very quickly have more snacks than you know what to do with. In fact, you may end up with many items that you don't need, like hundreds of candies or thousands of snacks. If you find yourself in this position, you can also turn to Sam and his mystery boxes. You can exchange your unneeded items for mystery box tokens, with rarer items giving you more tokens, although I do not recommend you sell any of your rare items to Sam. With 100 tokens, you can open 5 mystery boxes, which will give you random rewards from Sam's normal shop stock. This includes keys, perfumes, star shards, spellbooks, honey, and lesson enhancement materials. So, if you want to try your luck in this way, you can, and who knows, you might even get super lucky. Because RNG is ingrained into this game so heavily, getting the higher tier items can take a while, so you're gonna have to grind no matter what. Now that we have all of this information on how lessons work, how we get items, how to use these items, how all the different gameplay systems affect our upgradable card aspects, and what each of those aspects do, we can make informed decisions about what to prioritize based on our situation. If it were me and I was starting the game completely new, my main goal would be reaching the groovy state for the cards I planned on using. The early game can be challenging, sure, but without a lot of items at your disposal, upgrading your card and vignette levels through lessons will serve you best in the short term. Make sure you do your special lessons first, and use any lesson enhancement items you have there first as well. After that, when and where you use the lesson enhancement items is up to you, but I would caution against using the waffles and the cupcakes in flight lessons specifically. Vignettes are by far the easiest thing to level in my opinion, and do not require too many items once you've gotten a stock of snacks, so using sugar cubes will be great, however the other items might be more useful in history and alchemy lessons. On that note, while alchemy shouldn't be your primary focus, it can be good to preemptively stock up on candies for Groovy, as your characters might not be available for alchemy on the day you reach your Groovy requirements. And you can typically get enough candies in 20 or 30 lessons, or if you're super lucky, only 10. So I recommend doing just a couple loops when your characters are up to get enough candies to Groovy their cards, and then switch back to focusing on basic lessons. However, once you have been playing for a while, it will be alchemy, alchemy, alchemy all day, every day. Doesn't matter what the elemental books are, you're doing alchemy. That's just your life now. Enjoy it. You should be prioritizing spell and buddy levels almost exclusively because you should already have a good stock of card enhancement items to boost the other aspects. You'll also likely have a few teams built up, so making them even stronger will be more important. As I've mentioned probably 100 times by now, books take a long time to get, so you're gonna have to spend a lot of time to get them, especially if you're upgrading SSR cards. For buddy levels, it's worthwhile to use Friendship Popcorn, especially for the last few levels, as they can take forever to upgrade without this boost. It should also go without saying that for your SSR cards, you should be prioritizing their duo buddy first, and then whoever else you think is necessary given your other cards. If you start to run low on your other items, you can of course rotate in normal lessons, but I'd advise that you try to use training camps to do this when they pop up over just using the normal everyday lessons if you can. If you're unfamiliar, training camps are limited time events that give bonus experience in normal lessons to featured characters, which are sometimes predetermined, like in dorm-specific training camps, or sometimes you can select these cards for yourself in the multi-dorm training camps. You'll also get some minor rewards for reaching and completing certain battle milestones, so it's also a good way to get those lesson enhancement items and some gems. Last time one of these was around, I was able to max level a couple cards, including Dorm Uniform Riddle, so I highly recommend participating if you'd like to save your time while still getting levels quickly. In these events, waffles are quite helpful as only the featured character receives this bonus experience, so to have them get called on more often will really maximize your gains. Because these are normal lessons, you will be rewarded with their corresponding character enhancement items, so it can also be a good time to replenish your stocks if you're running low. And with that, it's about time for you to go out there and buff your boys. We've gone over pretty much everything except perhaps friendship, but like I said, the guest room as a whole is its own beast, and friendship levels really only matter once your cards are getting close to their max anyway. Honestly, the biggest threat to your card leveling success will be time, since it just takes a while to get certain things leveled. But hopefully with all of this knowledge, you'll be better prepared for card upgrading, and perhaps even have a good idea of what you want to prioritize and have a plan to go into next time you open up Twisted Wonderland. If you found this guide helpful, please let me know with a like or a comment or maybe even a subscribe. And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, please let me know below. Now, before you go, I'd just like to remind you that you are amazing and I hope you have a wonderful day.